Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Entrepreneurship 101 course. This is Module 10, Business Plan. I am your instructor, Dr. J. So, in this module, we will describe the purposes for business planning and listen and explain the elements of the business plan development process. In the business plan, this is just one module out of the 10 modules that I talked about that I've been talking about in this Entrepreneurship 101 course. You can take an entire course just on the business planning. I am just going to touch briefly on each part, just like I did in Module 9 on business models. I'm just going to briefly touch on it. I'm not going to get too much into detail into it, and I'm going to give you some of the material of some info on how I've written a business plan by myself, and I was part of a startup where I was in the initial process of just putting the finishing touches on another business plan, just on a part of the business plan. So I have some experience with business plan writing, and so I'm just gonna give you some of my insights into just a little bit of my insights and just things to touch on when you're looking at a business plan. So this is kind of the overview of this module. So it's very important to when it comes to business plan writing, it's still an important part of a business. Some people, there's always a debate whether a business plan is worth it to do it or not. And for the sake that I've done it before, it is time consuming. It does take a while. It's not an easy thing they could just do overnight. So what is the purpose of it, right? Business plans are developed for both internal and external purposes. The internal purpose of the business plan is for the entrepreneur to develop a business plan to help put together the business, right? It's the blueprint to your company, to the blueprint to your startup. It's the living, breathing document of your business, right? It tells you're explaining it's the playbook to your business, how your business is started, how your business functions, what's your business selling, who are your competitors, how does it, who are the key players in your market or competition, who are your key players in your team to launch your business or your business, what's the cost, again, what are you offering the customers and such. The external purposes, right? Again, it's the main method of explaining your business. So if you're trying to fundraise money from VCs or angel investors or potentially a bank, which sometimes they don't even look at startups, it provides a complete information, a complete bio of your company, because usually business plans are at least 25 to 30 pages, a good, thorough, explained, well business plan. Again, 20, 25, 30 pages along with details about your business. And that will give me the details that I need to see, okay, this is how your business is functioning. And again, in some business plan competitions, you need to write out a full-blown business plan, right? If you want to get that money from the business plan competition. The principles of some of the business plan, important things about a business plan, right? Uh, you have to have expectations, right? Translate of your vision of the venture and how it will perform into a format compatible with the expectations. You have to have good communication with it. So you have to identify, understand the key success factors and risk. You have to have a strategy to commercialize profitability and market domination. So you have to explain what's the strategy for your commercialization, how are you going to reach profit and market domination, how are you going to dominate your market. You have to be very clear and communicate that from the very get-go. What is your business? What are you solving? And what are you selling? And how are you going to make money? And what's your exit strategy? Again, remember we talked about that exit strategy in the modules, the milestones, right? So anchoring your key events of your financial and quantitative values, right? So what are your major plan objectives in the form of financial targets? You have to address that. Like, what are your milestones for your business? In year one, we're going to sell X amount of whatever it is, and we're going to make this amount of money. By year 5, by year 2, 3, 4, 5, this is how much we plan to sell, to who and how much we're going to make. You have to communicate that. The opportunity, right? Nothing lasts forever. So things can change on the impact of opportunity. How are you going to take advantage of the opportunities that arise from the market? How are you going to continue to grow, and how are you going to tackle the market size? So you have to continuously figure out how to maintain, take advantage of the opportunities that arise. the context, right? Communicate how the context will help or hinder the proposal. Um, of course, how your what management can or will do in the event that context turns unfavorable. And of course, the business model. How does your business, we talked about business model in the last module, right? Who pays how much and how often. Brief and clear statement of how an idea actually becomes a business that creates value. So those are the main things that are communicated through a business plan, right? Again, the business plan credibility, gives credibility principles. Um, so again, you have to know who the team is. You have to elaborate, break down the individual tasks that each individual have, and of course, scenario integration, and of course, financial link. So key assumptions relate to market size, penetration rates, the markets, the income and cash flow statements must be presented. And of course, what's the deal? Like, what's what are you what deal do you want to make with the investors? So the stages of developing a business plan, right? You're gonna do the essential initial research stage. What market you're getting into, who are your competitors, uh, product. Is this a growing market? Is this a declining market? Of course, the business model stage, the initial, the draft of the business plan, making the business plan realistic, and of course, presenting and then finishing the business plan. Um, in regards to the business model, you don't necessarily have to complete a business model uh, when you're writing a business plan. You don't have to, and I don't encourage you to. Um, but of course, the textbook that I'm using for this course, mentions that again. When I wrote my business plan, my own very own, I didn't use a business model canvas, and I believe it wasn't even. If I can think back, I don't think the business model canvas I believe was used at that time, but it wasn't something that I looked up to use in my business plan. That's up to you if you want to use that. But of course, a typical business plan has all these. This is the format of a typical business plan, right? The title page, the executive summary, which basically is a one pager, no more than 2 pages of giving me the entire outline of the 30 pages that you just wrote. List of tables and figures, the introduction, the operating environment, operations, the capital requirements, human resources like people that need to hire and such, marketing plan, organizational analysis, financial plan, right? Um, Here's a key part of the business plan. And again, this is just one of the formats. There's other ways that you can write the business plan, and other business plan formats have similar things, just different words. But one key thing, though, about the executive summary that almost anybody who's ever written a business plan or who teaches business plan writing will tell you is that the executive summary is the last thing you write. That's not the first thing you write, it's the last thing you write. And it has to be very clear, concise, and communicate what your business is, what problem you're solving, and who are you selling to. Like, what are you selling? Who's your customer? Like, and what are you asking me? And that's the one important. Like, what are you asking me for? Are you asking me for investment? So how much? And what am I getting in return? And when am I going to make my money back? So you have to, your executive summary is the last thing you write in your business plan. And again, it's less than 2 pages. It has to be clear, concise, and straight to the point. And it has to answer my questions that I just asked. Again, these are all the things that you'll have to include in your business plan, right? Um, One of the key things about when you're writing a business plan, all financial statements are completely linked. So your income statement and cash flow statements and such, all the things are match and they make sense, right? Again, if you're not an accounting whiz, you need to go get advice from an accountant to look at your financials. I highly encourage you, pay someone to look at, go hire an accountant, find an accountant to look at your statements to make sure they make sense. You may have to pay a few dollars, but hey, if you're in a business plan competition and this is potentially can make you money, it's very important that you look at someone looks at your financials, because here's a key reason why. It can definitely impact your chances of winning a business plan competition. Believe me, when you're in a business plan competition, and because you will probably have to submit a business plan, there are people in those. One of those judges is an accountant or works with numbers, and they'll look at your financial statements and rip you to shreds if they see a lot of misinformation, a lot of there's no flow in the statements. You have to make sure that they are superb. You can probably get away with a few misspelling words, not too many, of course, but a few in there. But you cannot get away with messing up in the financial statements. The financial statements must be perfect. If you don't think so, go on Shark Tank when you watch that show and look at Mr. Wonderful when he rips apart people when they don't know their numbers, right? That's the most important key facts in the business plan, especially in the business plan competition, is your financial statements. You have to know your numbers very well, right? You have to when you look at a business plan, it has to be easy to read. One of the problems that I had when I wrote my own business plan, it was easy to read, but it made no sense, right? The judge was confused. It's like, what are you selling? Are you selling a marketing program or are you selling education? Like, what are you selling? I'm not sure what you're trying to sell me. Again, it has to be easy to read. The judge should not be able to say that. It should not say that. It has to be easy to read. Again, no more than 40 pages, including appendices. Again, I would say 30, 35. No more than 30 pages or so. I think 40 pages is way too much. I could be wrong, but it just depends on your market. But 40 pages is like way, way too much. Again, be clear and specific, straight to the point. This is not about fluffing. You're not adding sentences just to add sentences. Get to be clear and concise and specific. Again, I would highly encourage you to get your business plan checked for spelling and grammar in your financial statements. You don't mess with those. You have to get them right. You have to get those right. So again, I just briefly touched on business plan writing. Again, you can take an entire course um, on this, and so that is Module 10, Business Plan, and I'm your instructor, Dr. J, for this Entrepreneurship 101 course.
Well, everybody, that's it for this entrepreneurship mini course. We covered the 5 basic fundamentals of entrepreneurship, and I really hope you enjoyed the course. And I hope that you take this knowledge and you use it and apply it in the real world. So, if you want to learn more, or if you want to get more dosage of entrepreneurship, make sure you check out my vlog on YouTube by typing in Dr. J Real Talk, and make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can also check out my website, www.drjrealtalk.com, and also my business website, www.ldmsmedia.com. Check you out next time.